Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Arguello versus Ray Mancini. We start off with the 8th round. Now the previous rounds, Mancini and Arguello have been fighting more. It's been more of a fight. Mancini's been landing some good shots. We see Arguello stepping to the left a little bit more. He's going clockwise. Throwing that jab out. We'll see what happens. We've seen this pattern before, which is Mancini countering the jab with the right hand. Oh, it was the one before this. I won't go back all the way, but you've seen that before. I said the first round you probe with the jab to see what counters your opponent likes to throw. So by now we know that Mancini, when he slips right, he likes coming back with that right hand sometimes, or majority of the time. Arguello isn't keeping the distance that he was keeping in the beginning rounds. He's been fighting, staying in the pocket the last few rounds. That's Mancini's father in the bottom right corner. Arguello keeps moving left. I think what he's trying to do, this is my guess, he's trying to get closer to that left hook. So let's see here what. Nice, Mancini jabs back that time. Nice jab. Beautiful. So if we're in this position, I want to land my left hook from Arguello. I want to move closer to the back foot. So I want to put this foot closer to this side. That way I'm closer to the right side of Mancini's head. If I want to throw the right hand, then I would move more to the right and have my lead foot kind of pinky toe to have my right hand closer to the left side of Mancini's head. I believe that Arguello is trying to move left to set up that left hook and work the jab, but set up that left hook that he was landing earlier in the fight. He's trying to keep, I don't want to move the mouse, but if you look at Arguello's lead foot, he's trying to keep it straight ahead with Mancini's back foot. That way he's closer to land the left hook. That's just my guess for now, as nothing is really happening. And the pace quieted down substantially from the last, I would say, 5, 6, 7 rounds. 5, 6, 7. It's a much slower round, this one. Mancini isn't putting the same effort. Maybe he was more tired. That's the thing that comes with 15-round fights. You can't. It's a roller coaster. You got to know when to press the gas, when to take your foot off the gas, when to coast, when to jab, when to move. You can't always put pressure for 15 rounds. Very few fighters are able to do that. I believe it was round 7. We saw the right hand a little bit more from Arguello. And round 9, we'll see if Mancini keeps, if he's going to up the pressure again, or is he going to stay how he is. Now, most of the time, like we said, Arguello is moving left, spinning, turning Mancini, using that left hand, jabbing, uppercuts, hooks. Very rarely is he using the right hand. There comes back that left step back hook. I wish we could see the feet more. I got a comment to talk about the feet more. I wish we could see the feet more so I could talk about them when the camera does go to the feet. If there is something to talk about, I'll keep that in mind. And you see Arguello is just turning with every jab. Just turning Mancini to the left. Or just stepping to the left. Keep turning Mancini. Mancini can't come forward like this. He has to keep resetting. Step back. Maintain distance. But we don't see Arguello stepping to the right a lot. At all, if I should say. Now, this is something that Mancini could recognize and try to take advantage of. It is harder, but he can try to throw the right hand as Arguello keeps moving to the left. But I don't think he's able to throw that right hand. Now, I'm pretty sure Arguello knows he's moving in one direction the whole time, which is something that you're taught not to do, not to always move to the left, not to always move to the right. I'm pretty sure if Mancini had was doing a little bit better here, Arguello would be trying to mix it up, moving right, moving left. But something Mancini should try to take advantage of is Arguello moving constantly to the left only, those left hands. He's moving left, he's gaining momentum in his left hand, Arguello is. I think that was an uppercut. Just one hand. Use the right hand when you need to. Other than that, work that left hand. I love the right uppercut from Arguello to the body is one of the best I've ever seen. There's one fight where he fought a Japanese guy, I think, in Japan, and he landed several of those right. It's not a bolo. It kind of looks like a bolo punch, but it's not quite. But he throws it right to the body. Now, we've seen this in the first part of this fight breakdown is Mancini constantly, when he throws a big right hand, he likes to squat down. Now, that's not wrong, but against a guy like Arguello that could read you, you don't want to do the same setup if you really plan on landing the shot. What I would do, if this is something I want to talk about actually, if you watch Gervonta Davis, he moves in this position that Mancini's in right now. After he bends his leg, he moves in like this with his legs bent. So he gets shorter before he actually, like from a couple seconds before. So the opponent, like Arguello, wouldn't be able to read it like this. Because Gervonta Davis, he stays low, and then you don't know when he comes up. So Gervonta moves in from here. He'll move in low sometimes. Low, and the opponent doesn't know when he's going to come up. But when you move in like tall, and then you suddenly get low, the opponent knows that you just got low and then you're planning on attack. What sometimes you should do as a shorter fighter is, instead of doing this from here, get a little bit lower and move in low. Move your head, jab while you're low, jab the body, and then the opponent doesn't get this opportunity to see this dip. They don't get that opportunity. Now, if my opponent, like Arguello, is picking up on the dip, which is bending the legs, setting up the right hands, which is Mancini's been doing for a while, I would use that for a feint, because I know my opponent is good at reading this. He sees me do this, I'll feint, but I won't throw the right hand. I might come up with a left up jab in between the guard. Okay, but Mancini has been, usually since the first round, whenever you see him bend his legs like this, you know a right hook is coming, or like a looping right hand kind of is coming, and then Arguello could read that and counter. Okay, so if you are a shorter fighter that likes to dip before punching, sometimes already be low and then move in like that and then your opponent won't be able to see when you're about to throw the punch. If they see that, if you know they're reading that, then use that as a feint. Bend your legs as a feint, come up with the left hand, and then throw the right hand sometimes. But when sudden level changes against great fighters like Arguello, they could read it and pick up on what you're trying to do. So if someone's picking up a move that you're trying to do and you see them that they're picking it up, they know they're reading you, just turn that into a feint. Don't throw the actual punch because you know they see it, just turn it into a feint. Or do the move, use the other hand. So it's not always bad when someone could read your next move. That's just when you use it against them. If every time I jab, I touch my nose and I jab, now my opponent's reading that. This is just an example. If I'm touching my nose before I jab every time, my opponent's reading that. Okay, if I catch up that they're reading it, next time I'll touch my nose, throw the right hand, because I know they're looking for the left hand. So this is how you use everything against your opponent. If they're reading you, turn that into a feint, use the other hand. Was that a headbutt? No, I don't know if I think that's accidental. I don't think Mancini would. Nice. That's the right uppercut I was talking about to the body. And great champions, they get hit clean. They never looks like it affects them. They always just keep fighting through it until they stop getting hit clean. This is round 10, I believe. I think Arguello's starting to actually fight now. I think he was kind of pissed off from the headbutt. See, there goes that rolling that right hand from Mancini, throwing that right uppercut. The same right hand Mancini's been throwing from the first round. See, he's a little bit more straight up, and then he gets low. You could see the bend in his left leg, like right there. And then Arguello is already used to this by now. It lands on the body, but he sees it, and he could counter. So with pressure fighters like a guy like Mancini that likes to come forward, you can kind of start reading them. But it's not this one, it's this one. So Mancini's been doing the setup from the very first round, which is bend the legs, right hook, either to the head, a looping right hand, overhand to the head, or a right hook to the body, and Arguello picks up on this. Most pressure fighters, they have setups before they actually attack, especially if they're shorter than you. So what you want to do as a taller fighter is get to know their setup so you could easily see them when they're about to happen and adjust to them quickly. Nice jab. And that's what I was saying about Mancini again. There's no reason, there's nothing wrong with someone figuring out your attack. Just use it against them. Change it up. Use the same setup, but do something else with it. Nice jab. So to that comment that said focus on the footwork a little bit more, sorry. We can't see the feet, so it's a little bit harder. What I do know is just Arguello's trying to move left. He's been moving left the majority of the time. Okay, now Arguello comes back to that step back left hook that we're talking about in the first half of the fight. I don't think he wants to fight anymore. He wants to use that, keep his distance again. Let's see. Bang, that step back left hook. And this is what I said, Arguello finds this punch, lands in the beginning of the fight, kind of doesn't throw it anymore in the middle of the fight, and then brings it back towards the end. There's that right uppercut to the body from Arguello. Nice right hand. So yeah, I think Mancini should have taken advantage of the fact that Arguello was only moving to his right. He should have done something that way. This is something I talk about Manny Pacquiao in his earlier fights, is he would try to land that right hand. So when someone would turn, he would turn with them to line up that right hand again instead of cutting them off and moving. Manny Pacquiao southpaw, so it's a little bit different, but same idea. Instead of when Arguello moves to his left, instead of Mancini stepping to his right and landing that right hand, Mancini is turning with Arguello. See, this doesn't really do much for you if it hasn't worked for a while. So I guess Mancini's trying to move left too. But here, you're just basically at squares. You're back at zero. You're back in front of each other. I like that move by Mancini, which is stepping to the right now. See, this is what he should have been doing. From here, I would have jabbed to the body if I'm Mancini. James Toney does this very well. He steps to the right here, and then slip jab right to the body. Slip jab with the left to the body of Arguello. Bang, that would have been a nice opportunity for a jab. Doesn't do it. Whenever I'm moving to my right, stepping, James Toney's really good at stepping to the right, and he pops you with that jab to the body. When someone reaches him with the right hand, he rolls and throws his own right hand. That's for another day. But I do like stepping to the right. It gives you a good opportunity to land that left jab. Now Mancini's working his jab a little bit more. I think he should have been doing that a little bit more. When you're a shorter fighter, you don't want to show big commitments to moves, because a taller fighter, it works against lesser fighters, but a great fighter like Arguello, they pick up on every little move. So you want to hide those big attacks that you want to do as a shorter fighter. Even if you're not landing the jab, that's what you should be doing. Throw 2-3 jabs, even if they don't land. But make your opponent get used to you jabbing, and then you could hide the right hand, the left hooks a little bit more. But if you do what Mancini's doing, those big shots, sometimes it's too easy to read from a great fighter that's had 75 fights. And this is what experience is in boxing or in life. Is you could be really good, but if someone's more experienced than you, there's just some things that you've never seen in a fight before that you just can't relate to, or you can't use in the fight that you're fighting now. Arguello might have had the same up against the same fighter as Mancini maybe 10 years earlier, and then now he remembers that fight and he's doing some stuff that he learned from that fight. So that's what experience is. His fight with Ruben Oliveras, Arguello is very similar to this one, especially the first part of the fight, because Oliveras kept trying to open up with that big left hook, and then Arguello would just time him with his own left hook. Now Arguello is starting to come on. He's moving forward again. And how do you add experience if you have less experience? Film study. Studying other fighters, learning from other people's mistakes, studying other people's mistakes. That's how you add experience to yourself, even though you haven't had that experience in the ring. You learn from other people's mistakes or other people's game plans in the ring. So when I watch this fight, I'm a shorter guy. If I fight a taller guy, okay, I'm not going to set up that right hook. I'm not going to bend my legs big, get low, and throw that right hand like Mancini's doing against a good tall fighter, because I know the tall fighter might start seeing that. So I might do it if the tall fighter isn't that good. If I'm doing it and the fighter's picking up on it, like I said, I'll change it into a feint and I'll use my left hand. So this is something I learned from Mancini to do when I'm sparring or fighting. So this is how you learn from other people. That's why it's good to watch people watch all kinds of fighters, but the people you really want to study is the people that are closest to you in body type and fighting style. That way you could adjust your fighting style and your techniques. But yeah, if you want to add experience to yourself when you haven't had that much experience, then study fights, study people's mistakes, study what people do. If you don't study, then you'll be limited to the experience that you have. See, this is what I was talking about earlier when Mancini gets low. Here, of course, he gets low. You could, Arguello could tell he's going to throw the right hand. He steps back from it. Mancini kind of half throws it, takes a big step, half throws it, right? Now, and then Mancini goes with the double left hook, which didn't land, but see, it's a little bit better than just committing to that right hand. So we'll see it again. Gets low, and you see where his weight is? It's on the right side of him. That's how you know he's throwing the right hand. He's pointing this way. He's not gonna throw a left hook from here. He's gonna throw a right hand. So here, but he takes a big step. He knows that the right hand is too short because Arguello steps back, kind of half throws it. Doesn't really commit like before. Throws a double hook. Now, if he could do that again when Arguello doesn't step back, then he could land the left hook potentially. See, he gave Arguello some problems there. Now he's using that same setup and adding stuff to it. So there's nothing wrong with someone seeing your setup. You just use it against them. Then they don't know what you're going to use that setup for. But don't always use a setup for the same. That's the right uppercut I love from Arguello. Is it Arguello or Arguello? I don't know. See, I was tucking that right uppercut down in the body. If there was a health bar, that takes the health down of the other fighter. Body shots are psychological too, because even though like those right uppercuts, they're not physically, you can't see them that they're hurting Mancini. In Mancini's head, and every fighter knows this, when you get hit with a couple or a bunch of good body shots, even though they don't take the air out of you, you know that you're gonna get more tired as time goes. So it's kind of psychological that it's gonna tire you out later in the fight. So even if those punches that you don't see, like a knockout from the body punch, the fighter taking those body punches, they know that, see right there, they know that it's taking something out of them. Now this is what I like, this is what I said about Arguello, he's using almost one hand at a time. So Arguello's been using that left hand a lot. Now when Mancini comes in, bang that, see? And this punch isn't taking the air out of Mancini, but Mancini knows if he keeps getting hit with them, it's gonna trouble him. Beautiful. We'll see if Arguello keeps throwing those right uppercuts. Nice right hand. I think that's why Aaron Pryor gave Arguello so many problems, is he was pretty unpredictable, and Arguello is good at predicting. He's good at learning his opponent, and Pryor was just one of those crazy guys that you couldn't really predict what he's gonna do. I think that's why he won a lot of his fights. Great skills too, but he was very unpredictable. A guy like Mancini, very good fighter, but a guy like Arguello can learn him pretty quick. There goes that step back again. Not really a step back, is it? No. Beautiful shot. Like I said, I watched this fight over and over again. This is my third time watching this, or fourth, and I learned something new every time. Ooh. Now, when Mancini dipped low before this, and he slipped the jab, so what do you think he's going to come back with? That right hand. Arguello already knows that. And this is where, like I said, Arguello figured out Mancini in the first round of his move, which is dip to the right, bend the legs, come back with the right hand. Also, when Mancini slips a jab, he likes to come over with the right hand. And that's exactly what he does for both. He does both moves at once, which is he slips the jab, bends his legs, and you know that he's coming back with the right hand, and that's where Arguello times him. Now, before this, Arguello, I'm gonna get kind of autistic here. So before this, Arguello wouldn't jab. Mancini would do this move on his own. Arguello would have his left hand tucked, and then when Mancini throws that right hand, we saw Arguello roll it and throw the right uppercut. Okay, now Arguello throws that jab, and he sees Mancini do this, so he has his measurement, he has his timing, and he has control over Mancini's shoulder here, so he could land that right hand, pinpoint where he wants him. Mancini turns. As he turns, Arguello pulls that left hand back and shoots that right hand. See how they interchange? The shoulders, they move together. Watch his legs. I'll wait for this part to go away. Watch his legs, watch his waist, watch his shoulders, and watch his waist, his hips, like his his legs from here, and his hamstrings. If the feet were here, you would see his right foot turning, but from here I want you to watch his shoulders right above the shorts, the hips down here, and then the hamstrings and the knees. See how everything, the shoulder, here, here, and here, they all turn together with the punch. I'll just keep replaying this. So the jab, now the jab, the shoulder, here, here, and here, they all pull back at the same time. As they pull back, he bends this leg so it could carry the weight of the right side. Bang. And then all his weight now is on his left hamstring behind the knee. But I see how you interchange punches. You jab. Bang. Okay. Sorry, I replayed that like 10 times. And the round is done. But he hasn't figured out. He knows when he's gonna slip to the right and bend his legs. He knows that he's coming back with the right hand. Before, he wouldn't jab before. Arguello would let Mancini do that move on his own, and then his hand would be tucked a little bit more. But here, Arguello jabbed, and Mancini did that move. So his straight right was a little bit easier to land than rolling a right hook with the right uppercut. He had more distance. That's the beginning of the end. Now we'll see why I was saying that in the middle rounds, 5, 6, 7, if you don't know boxing and you're watching this fight, you'll think both fighters are at the same level. But now this is where the great fighter goes up another level, and you could see the difference. It's like oil and water. Now, always calm and collected, even though he just knocked him down. He knows he's hurt. Arguello is still calm. Puts a little bit more pressure, but very calm still. There's that right uppercut again. Working that jab. Now he's working both hands. Now Mancini. See, when did Arguello throw a right hook before this? He missed, but he didn't really throw that right hook before this. I didn't see him throw it. But now he throws all kinds of punches because he has his fighter hurt, his opponent hurt. Remember the first part? I said high reward, low risk shots. The higher risk shots you throw later in the fight when your opponent, like Mancini, is tired, his reflexes and his power is diminished. You start throwing those high risk shots, but you don't throw those high risk shots in the beginning when Mancini's ready to come back with something. Now Mancini did the opposite. He threw his high risk shot, which is bending to the right and throwing that big right hand earlier in the fight, and that's why he got countered a lot. He didn't throw low risk, high reward shots, which is the jab and the straight right without that big bend. But because he did that earlier in the fight, he got countered a lot more. But Arguello did the complete opposite. He used just his left hand in the beginning. Now when he has his opponent hurt, he comes in with those weird punches. He throws the right hand and the left hand together a lot more. Before, he was selective with one punch at a time, one hand at a time. There goes that right hand again. There goes that right hand again. Here goes. This is a punch that we saw in the very, very beginning, which is that lead left uppercut. And like I said, it is to land, or if it doesn't land, it keeps Mancini from ducking low. It's like barbed wire. It tells Mancini you can't get down here. It keeps him up and straight. And then it gives Arguello the opportunity to throw that right hand, because he knows Mancini's straight, because he knows Mancini isn't going to slip low. Okay, so some punches, they're not meant to land, but they're meant to guide the opponent somewhere where you could throw your next punch. See how many right hands Arguello threw in this round now? He's really throwing that right hand. The right hand is a lot higher risk than throwing the left hand, because it keeps you open a lot more than the left hand. But now Arguello is going in for the kill. He's throwing both hands. The reason I like Arguello so much is because he's the perfect fighter, game plan wise, boxer, mindset, thinking, and all of that. So he's one of those guys you can study. You don't have to copy him, but you learn so much from watching him, because you learn how he does things, how he operates. And even though your style might be like Mancini, might be like someone else, you could always take something from Arguello's game plans, his mindset, his punch selection. Nice left hand uppercut to the body. See how he's getting a lot more aggressive. And that's why the knockout he gets in when he stops Mancini, that's why his knockout is so great. Was it the 14th or 15th round? I'm not sure. This is what I said about 15-round fights, is the opponents can actually learn each other so much more than a 12 or 10-round fight. You have a lot more time to really study your opponent's habits, moves. That's why the endings, if it does end in a knockout like Arguello, his knockouts are usually very precise. He knows exactly what he's throwing. It's not a guess. We'll see. We'll study the knockout. Nice step back left hook. Nice jab. Matter of time. A fighter like Arguello is someone that could fight in any era, because the thinking. So when you think of, can this person fight in this era? Can this person fight in that era? You take their thinking as well. If Arguello came up in this era, his thinking, you just add the modern science to it, and he still is at the same level. He's not any less of a fighter than he is. Ooh. So a guy like Muhammad Ali, they'll say he's too small to be a heavyweight. If he was a cruiserweight, would anybody beat him? I don't think so. Okay. So it's the mindset of the fighter that I like to translate to different eras to see if they do good or not. Not is this person stronger or faster than this person. If you take Anthony Joshua with his mindset and you put him in the 70s with the heavyweights, do you think that he'll be good or great, or do you think he'll be good? That's the type of thinking I like to put fighters in when I talk about different eras. Okay, now, this is beautiful. I've done this video on Instagram before, just of the knockout. Okay, there goes that left hook. Lands that left hook. There goes that right uppercut that we talked about. There goes that left hook again. Just bump him off. Left hook, right hand, and he's done. Now this is where the oil separates from the water. This is when you see the clear distinction in between both fighters, is that this last round that just went on and this knockout. Like I said, if you watch this fight, the 5th, 6th, 7th round, 8th, 9th, maybe, you would have seen Mancini land some great punches. There's a comment on the first part of the video, which is Mancini was doing good, but he ran out of gas. That could be true also, but it is a 15-round fight, so it's like saying a plane fell down out of the sky because it ran out of fuel. Well, they should have fueled it up properly before it took off, and they should have measured how long it's going to take to how much fuel it needs. So as a fighter, there's no excuse for for running out of gas. There's no excuse for that, especially in a 15-round fight. But that's where experience comes in. That's something. I used to be a huge Prince Nassim fan, and I used to tell my coach that he just didn't train before he fought Barrera, and my coach said, well, that's your job to train before you fight. So if someone loses because they didn't train, they just didn't do their job. Okay, so no excuses in the ring. If you run out or don't run out of gas. But that's your experience, and you learn how to how to control your output and input, so you can stay longer in the fight. And this is why Arguello is one of the greatest fighters. The way he dissected Ray Mancini, truly great. And I don't think we'll see a lot of 28-year-olds with 75 fights again. I don't know what, like say Gervonta Davis, I think his record is less than 30 fights. So the amount of experience that Arguello has at 28 is just insane. Every punch landed in that knockout. This is why he's the most precise fighter. He doesn't waste anything. Bang. See how many rounds it took Arguello to study, put together the game plan until he get the final knockout. Truly beautiful. Now, one thing I love about Arguello is how he fights southpaws. I think he's one of the best guys to fight southpaws. So that's going to be one of my next studies, is how he fights southpaws, what he does to them. And yeah, thank you for watching. I'll be back with some more, and have a great day. Bye.